first of all, tell us how you feel about becoming the next Republic of Ireland senior manager.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is that obviously I've been announced today as the under-21 international manager first of all, and it's just a huge privilege, to be named under-21 international manager, and to be here for the next 4 years really, and beyond, I hope, and certainly it's a huge honour. I feel very, very privileged, and I'm looking forward to getting to work now, and I can't wait to get started.
When was this finally decided? Because, as we understand it, you were offered the under-21 job alone, and you didn't want to do that without a guarantee of the senior job.
Well, I think it's all hypothetical, but I think really everything was just finalised on Saturday. Really, I think everything was finalised on Saturday. A week ago, I couldn't have envisaged this, of course not. But it's an arrangement that I'm perfectly happy with. I'm delighted with it. It's a great opportunity, and one that I work extremely hard to do it justice.
You met up with Nick and Robbie last night. We understand how was dinner and how did that conversation go?
Yeah, no, that was fine. It was great. I've not met Mick in probably 15 years. I think 15 years ago I met him, but so it all went very well. He's got great experience, Mick, as obviously having captained Ireland for such a long period and from been a very successful period as manager of Ireland. So I think I can only learn from him. That's the way I feel over the next until in the interim period.
But how do you think that's going to work on a international calendar window when you might be away with the 21s, he'll have the senior team? How are you going to connect?
No, really, the senior team is not my brief. My brief is the under-21 international team, the under-19s, the under-18s, 17s, 16s and 15s. I think there's great work going on at all levels. I think all the international managers from Tom Moan to Jim Crawford to Colin O'Brien, Paul Ozam and Jason Donoghue, right throughout, there's been a lot of great work done. It's part of Ruud Doctor and the board's vision here for what for the future of Irish football. I'm now a part of that. It's my role is to assist and support all of the other managers and to nurture and develop and help inspire the new generation of Irish players for the future of Irish football. And I think that's a very exciting period for everyone.
Isn't it fair to say, though, that you wouldn't have taken this on unless the senior job was there at the end of it?
Well, this is the position I'm offered, so I'm very happy with what I've been offered, and that, that's the way I feel about it.
You've always been very outspoken, Stephen. How would you describe your relationship with the FAI?
I think my relationship with the FAI has always been good. I feel, it's never been fraught. It's always been good, so yeah, I've never worked here. I was part of an under-16 team that went to Israel many years ago, probably an awful long time ago, over 3 weeks. But my involvement with the international setup would have been just to that extent.
The last time I spoke to you, this is the last one from me. You were talking about being seeded for the Champions League, your plans, your ambitions for Dundalk. So there must be some mixed emotions because of the success you've had at Dundalk.
Yes, of course there is. There was a real wrench to leave Dundalk Football Club because we had unprecedented success there, and the players and the staff were amazing to work with. Really special group of players. Tremendous bond with everyone at the football club and the whole town there, really. And I think it was a very unique period in Irish football history, and it was just a privilege to be a part of that. Of course, I was reluctant to leave that to go anywhere, and particularly with the seedings this year in the Champions League. We were never seeded. The coefficient being 7, and to be seeded in in the first round of the Champions League and possibly the third round of the Europa League, depending on how it goes. So to leave that, it would have to be something special, and this is something special. It doesn't get any more special than this. So this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity, and one that you just cannot turn down. It's you know, I'm thrilled to be here.
Stephen, what do you see as your greatest achievement at Dundalk?
At Dundalk, you know, I think I'll let other people decide that. You know, I don't really want to be speaking about my own achievements, but certainly it was just a great period, the collective period of winning the 4 league titles, but obviously the Europa League group qualification and the subsequent performances in that were a highlight, as were the way the players performed at that level, and the way you know, that was a highlight.
And are you confident that the club are kind of in good hands in spite of your absence? And is there anyone that you'd kind of prefer to see succeed you as coach?
Yeah, I think I'm very confident that the club is Dundalk is in a really strong place. All of the players from last season are virtually all signed up for next season. Haven't lost the first season in many seasons. I haven't lost any players, so I'm sure they're going to have the great leadership group there. Vinnie Perth, assistant manager, tremendous. Rudy Higgins, the coach there, and Stephen O'Donnell, the captain, with Brian Gartland as well. So great leadership group there. So they'll have continued success, I feel.
And is there plans to bring any of your staff with you to this job?
No.
And
are you concerned that if Mick gets the senior team to the Euros, that he might want to stay on another 2 years, and the FAI might want him to stay on another 2 years?
No, I think, listen, if it's already been decided, the decisions have already been made. You know, I think if Mick gets Ireland to the Euros and performs well, I'll be absolutely delighted. It's a great scenario to have because you're taking over a team, playing with confidence. It's great for Mick because it'd be a massive achievement for him and to do that again. And you know, his stock will be absolutely really high, and it'd be great for him and great for the country. And you know, I view that as a real. That's only good news. You know, that would only be good news.
Is that part of your contract, or is it just you've been promised essentially that you'll be taken over in 2020?
Oh yeah, it's in August 2020. Yeah, I'm taking over, and that's been decided.
But not in writing as such.
Sorry?
No, it's not in writing. It's just you've been told.
No, it's in writing. Yeah.
It's in writing.
Too late. Great timing.
I suppose people should turn off their mobile phones. Aaron.
Stephen, how do you manage the pressure of trying to get results with the international teams, the under-21s and down, with imparting your football philosophy on those respective players?
On which players?
From the 21s levels to the 19s, to the 18s, to the 17s. How do you stack up getting results with trying to get them to play football the way you want to play football?
Well, you know, it's not like I'm coming in starting something new. I think there's been a sea change in the philosophy, really, since Ruud has come in, and you know, we already mentioned the aforementioned managers and all the teams. You know, they're playing the one way. I think one of the things that has been obvious in our discussions at various times is that you know, the vision that Ruud has for the teams and the managers and the way they're playing is similar to the one I have myself, and I think it is a bit of a meeting of minds in that regard, and certainly you know, so I think it's not just up to me. I'm just part of a team in that regard. the other managers, Ruud, myself. Ruud is such a wide brief as technical director. He can't be everywhere and at once. And I think it has to be a collective effort, between, the under-21s will be a job in itself. There's no doubt, a massive job. Ireland have never qualified for the European under-21 championships in their history. It's always difficult because only one qualifies, and it's a difficult task. So I think, but we'll work together with all the underage, with all the other managers to try and improve all the players. One of the things I do think is that hopefully some of the players come in and do well at under-21 level, and Mick feels they've done well enough for him to select them. So that's the objective as well. Without doubt, that's the objective.
Stephen, can I first
Congratulate you. I've known you a long time. Remember the day you walked into the park in 2012, and you had a huge job to do, and told me you won't fall in and you thought of the season after the Dundalk struggling against the British and playoff, and that's you could see the motivation and the confidence that you had.
and you'll be very sad.
You left a lot of broken hearts in Dundalk, but at the same time, the people of the town wish you
Very well, and hope that everything works out for you. I have no doubt that it does. So I just wanted to express that to you. Could I just ask you a question, just basically in relation to that? I was in Lillenhall Street at 20 to 7. I just happened to be coming out of a bookies.
looking at odds on the different managers, not you. But the thing I wanted to just ask you basically was, you realise obviously the prize of that people had it on shop, maybe not that evening. But what's your feelings like? It must be very hard
To leave a club like Dundalk, it must have.
possibly broken your heart.
Yeah, no, as I said, I've articulated that. Like, I think it was a huge wrench to leave the club. It's been a big part of my life, obviously, for the last 6 years. Tremendous relationships there at all levels, and we had a brilliant period. But in the international team, that's a huge honour. So it's something that you just cannot turn down, and it's an opportunity that has to be grasped.
Stephen, does the situation add extra pressure on you because you need to be going into the senior job in 2 years' time on the back of a good run, don't you?
Well, that's an opinion. That's an opinion, but I think I think the under-21s has never been always about results. As I said, it's been about trying to get players through the under-21s into the senior international team. So I think I'm excited about the under-21 job. I think it's unusual because and I didn't realise myself, last year, because I've been at some of the games last year, and it was the age group was 1996, but now for this year it's players born in 1998. Okay, for this year. So there are some players that have been involved in the senior international team in recent times, in training in the squads. Leo O'Connor, obviously Michael Obafemi, and Keevan Kelleher have been in the squad. So they're all available for the under-21s this year. And, there's been other players who've been really doing well through the groups. It's not fair to mention players, but obviously Adam Ide and Troy Parrott and people like that have caught the eye. And even there's players that in the League of Ireland, that available for the under-21 teams that I think, even right throughout the country, UCD, players like Neil Ferrugia and Liam Scales, Will Fitzgerald down in Limerick, Shamrock Rovers like Trevor Clark, the left back at Shamrock Rovers, Darragh Leahy at Bohemians, two really good left backs, Ali Regba at Bohemians, like players like that. And I'm leaving a lot out, I would say, but there's a whole the underlying thing is that there's a lot of young talented players playing throughout the country. Like, there's players in the senior international team. John Egan is from Kerry, all right, and Seamus Coleman's from the other end of Donegal. So right throughout the country, the team is represented. There's grassroots teams at all levels throughout the country, and my job is to help get as many good players as we can from every part of the country into the youth international setup and into the under-21s, and then hopefully on into the first team again.
Stephen, how much of a step up is it to international level? Obviously, you've had a lot of success domestically and then within Europe. There will be concerns that, moving into the international field, that's another level up again.
No, I think obviously I've had one of the advantages is that I've had 46 Champions League between Champions League and Europa League games. I've had 46 games now at this stage, and so I think European football is probably the best preparation you can get for international football. It's more akin to club domestic leagues. So I think that will serve me well. Sure, I have a lot to learn, and I think over the next period, a year and a half, over the next 2 years, I have a great opportunity to learn. Learn first of all from the current international manager, Mick McCarthy. I have a lot to learn from him. He's a lot of experience, I think, but it gives me an opportunity to travel and have a look at some of the other international teams, how they prepare, the tactical nuances of the different systems. To really, you look at them, but to actually examine them at close quarters, to go and the detail attached to, because now the blocks of 2 games in 4 and 5 days, to actually explore the best practice for preparation in all of that, and every detail associated with preparing the teams. I think so. It gives me a good opportunity to do that over the next 2 years.
And do you see yourself being involved in some of the senior camps if there aren't any under-21 commitments, say, that week?
No, I don't really. No, I don't. I think to be fair, that's Mick McCarthy's domain, and I won't be certainly, I won't be interfering in that at all. My brief is as the under-21 manager, and to oversee with Ruud all the other international age groups.
And in terms of day-to-day working alongside Mick, how will that work so you can learn from him?
Well, I'm sure we'll have many conversations. I'm sure we'll have many conversations over the next couple of years, and I look forward to that.
Last couple, Peter, and then Gavin.
Stephen, as a Dubliner, you must be quite tempted to, I suppose, would you like to be taking over the Ireland manager job now, so you'd be looking ahead to a campaign where games potentially with Ireland involved are going to be played here at the Aviva Stadium?
Listen, that isn't the position I was offered. That isn't the position I was offered. I was offered the position, the arrangement that's in place, and I'm delighted to be offered it. It's a real privilege to be offered a job, and I'm delighted to be here.
And it's something the League of Ireland inside out. There's a lot with previous senior managers that maybe the League of Ireland wasn't getting a fair amount of call-ups. Do you think it did? Do you think there's scope for more League of Ireland players to be called into the senior panel?
Well, time will tell. I think certainly if you're performing, at Europa League level, you have to come into strong consideration. And I think also if once players are Irish, no matter where they're playing, if they're good enough and they're performing to a level, everyone should be considered.
Stephen, congratulations on the job. Sorry, over here. There were reports that John Giles was involved in your appointment. Is that true? And if it is, can you clarify exactly what he did?
That's completely news to me. To be honest with you, that's absolute news to me.
Okay. Since we're talking about succession plans and long-term blueprints, is there a successor in mind for the 21s job after you make the step up?
No, I won't be deciding. My successor. That'll be Ruud's decision, and the board of the FAI. I think. That will come. There's plenty of time for that to be decided.
Yeah.
It's all been everything's moved so quickly this week. I think it's important that we take stock as well, and that's even in relation to my own appointments, that we don't rush into anything and in that regard.
Yeah. Your current brief with the 21s overseeing the underage teams as well, will that continue when you're in the senior job?
No, certainly not.
Okay. And just finally for me, when you started off at Longford all those years ago, did you think that this is a natural progression? Did you see moving from Flanker Park to this desk today?
No, I couldn't have envisaged it really, to be honest. No, I could not have envisaged that at that time. That was a long time ago. It was the start of my career, and which hasn't always been an upward curve, I must say. But I think it was. No, I couldn't have envisaged that, and I'm delighted to be here. Absolutely delighted to be here.
Stephen, there was talk at some stage that maybe you had been offered the job previously, the under-21 job in a sole capacity, and maybe you had turned that down. You speak about maybe leaving for a special job, a dream job. Without possibly the senior job at the end of this, would you have left Dundalk for the under-21 job in isolation?
Well, I think that's a hypothetical situation. That's a hypothetical question, and I think the situation I'm in now is a great situation. And as I said, it's a huge honour. To be involved to manage the under-21 team, and thereafter what's involved. It's just an absolutely huge honour. So I'm delighted to be here.
Had you been approached after Noel King had?
There had been some discussions in that regard. There had been some discussions, but we're at a point where we are now, and I'm very comfortable with it. I suppose that all has to be discussed. It's unlikely. I think it's very unlikely. I'll be obviously appointed in August 2020, so that is unlikely. But I think it's the greater good of Irish football is important. And I think we'll have done a lot of work in that period, and that'll be for the FAI to decide.